Okay, I could be speaking out of turn here, but don't take this.
Go for it, mate. I'm used to it. Speaker's corner.
We've got Islam, you've got Christianity. Why is it with Islam, the religion, there's what they say radical Islam or Islamists, but with Christianity, there doesn't seem to be many radical Christians or Christianists. Why is that? Why do some people on the Islam religion take it really the wrong way and do harm? You don't hear it on the Christian side. Why is it?
It does occur on the Christian side. It's not popularized that much. For example, have you heard of the Lord's Resistance Army? It's a Christian extremist group.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one amongst many. But if you go to, for example, just delve a little bit into politics,
Yeah.
you notice, for example, if I was to ask, why do you think the Iraq war took place?
I'm not sure.
According to what you've heard on the grapevine.
And they thought there was weapons of mass destruction.
But what do analysts typically say it was because of? Oil.
Correct.
You heard that, yeah?
Yeah.
Now, even if you look at the old documents in British, amongst the British, you've got somebody called Lord Crewe, and you can check him out yourself.
Right.
He was the Foreign Secretary, and there are clear documented evidence for him saying it's within our interest to keep the Middle East divided, especially the oil principalities, i.e. Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, because the Middle East is very oil rich, and the world relies on oil, fossil fuels. So this is something which anyone that delves, even on the surface of politics, they know occupation has been taking place in the Middle East. Iraq, Obama in an interview on CNN admitted we shouldn't have been there. It was wrong.
Right.
Yeah, the Iraq war.
Yeah.
Then because of invasion of the Iraq war,
Yeah.
there's somebody called Robert Pape who said before the Iraq war, there was no suicide bombing in Iraq.
There was just child
It was,
child marriage.
I'm talking about suicide bombing. Yeah, there was no suicide, just one second, let me talk about this, yeah? Then you can come back to me. There was no suicide bombing that took place. After the invasion, that's when suicide bombing started. The literacy rate was 80% plus. After the bombing, it was less than 10%. The country was decimated. It was destroyed. They dropped bombs on there that were, I don't know if you've heard, there's something called depleted uranium, which when that bomb drops, the people are left cancerous. They get cancer. And there's something called white phosphorus, which when it drops, it melts the skin and goes to the bone. This happened in Iraq. And Obama admitted that it was because of our illegal invasion that then born ISIS. ISIS was then born. Now what Secretary John Kerry said, he said we saw ISIS grow. Just like any other extremist group, you know, the security services got the eye on this sort of stuff. But he says we allowed them to grow. But here's the reason that he gives. You can check this on YouTube. The reason why we allowed them to grow was to counteract the leader of Syria, Bashar al-Assad. We wanted them to weaken him because he was an ally, of course, of Russia. Yeah, we want to weaken Russia. And when we allowed them to grow, then Bashar became strong because he had Russian strength, but then by then ISIS had already grown. So here's the thing. Iraq, illegal invasion and oil. Then ISIS allowed to grow because of Syria.
If we, sorry, I don't want to jump in.
No, you can if you want.
So if we go back to like 9/11,
Yes.
and it seems when that pilot went in the Twin Towers and he was saying what he was saying, I'm guessing he was a Muslim or Islam. Again, and he was saying Allah Akbar or whatever he was saying. Why did he do that?
The person that talks about that or associated with that, he says the reason is foreign occupation. You come to our lands, you harm our people. In fact, in the US, one of his reasons was, did you know that there was an American base in Saudi Arabia? Did you know that?
No.
Just imagine if I told you that there's a Saudi base here in the UK, military base. So, America has at least 50 American bases worldwide. People aren't happy with that. More. Yeah.
It's necessary.
Much more. Well, that's the thing.
Absolutely.
If somebody then says, as Iran, we need to have bases because it's necessary, because that's a different argument in itself.
Sorry, but I know you're giving.
I'm not justifying it, by the way.
I know you're giving a really broad answer, and this is beyond my scope in terms of knowledge, and this is a lot of. But just so it's got nothing with the Islam religion.
Just give me 1 sec, though. Let me just give me 1 sec. Yeah, it's good. It's good. it'll just help me to wrap up the answer.
Sure.
Number one, foreign occupation. Palestine was under the protectorate of the British Empire. The British Empire, because of somebody called Balfour, Lord Balfour, he requested it for the Jews, and then the British gave it away. Yeah, and ever since then, there's been an issue. Palestine, Muslims versus the Jews, or it's not even that actually. It's Israelis versus the Palestinians. Iraq, they lied about weapons of mass destruction. In Libya, they killed Gaddafi's son. In Iran, 1951, there was somebody that was democratically elected. He was somebody called Mohammad Mossadegh. He was a leader, democratically elected. BP was the company, British Petroleum. They had issues with what he was doing with BP, and then they got rid of him.
So what you're saying, can I just say? So
What I'm saying is there's foreign intervention.
Right.
Then when foreign intervention takes place, there's bombing,
So what you're
drone
saying,
attacks.
What you're saying is these atrocities are happening not because of the religion itself. It's because it's for
Politics.
retaliation.
Yeah,
It's
politics.
got nothing to do with the religion.
There's a nun, ex-nun called Karen Armstrong. She's written a book called Fields of Blood. She used to be a nun. She doesn't follow any religion anymore, to my knowledge. She says that she's looked into all of this.
Right.
All of these atrocities that even Christians do as well.
Sure.
She says most of these things, if not all I think is a bit of a stretch, most of these are to do with politics.
Right.
For example, if you look before, when Palestine was Palestine, Muslims and the Jews lived in harmony. For example, even in Spain, Andalus, when it was under Muslim control for 800 years.
So I wouldn't notice.
No, that's why I'm saying,
I'm pleading ignorant.
that's fine. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because you can then go home, I can tell you, and the stuff that I've mentioned, you can Google it and you can check it.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's why I think cameras are helpful sometimes
Sure.
for you to do your own research and then come back to me and say, you said this to me last week, you're wrong. And then I can be
What's your channel, YouTube channel?
a Smile to Jannah Extra.
Can you write that down?
I'll write it down for you. So because of foreign occupation, foreign invasion, interference, and all of that, look, for example, you might think, foreign intervention, interference. Bro, Northern Ireland, they made it out to be Catholics versus the Protestants. But you know what it was? Yeah, it was the British that had gone there and set up bases there and sent over the Protestants there.
Yeah.
And even till today, bro, it's big problems because you've got a majority Catholic population that have got problems with the Protestants up north. And again, the British are getting involved. And when you go to the Irish people, they put bombs here and all of that. You just need to type in IRA history. Even when you look at the Tamil Tigers, Tamils, from Sri Lanka, because of occupation and foreign interference, bro, they were committing suicide attacks. They were one of the first to do suicide attacks. The kamikaze jets of the Japanese, they were doing that as well. It's always when another power comes in, interferes, and that's why the pastor of Obama, Jeremiah Wright, he said, and he mentioned some of the stuff that I mentioned, and he said Americans' chickens are coming home to roost. That was Jeremiah Wright, the pastor of Obama. Again, that's something you can check. You can check his speech online as well. The countries that don't have foreign interference, Indonesia. Indonesia is majority Muslim country. Yeah, Indonesia, majority Muslim country. No issue. Have you ever heard of an Indonesian terrorist?
I don't think so.
Malaysian terrorist. That's because there's no foreign occupation there. They've got no issue there. So people have got issues with immigration and migration, but those migrants are coming from countries that have been bombed by Western powers. Even today, weapons are going and arming the Israelis to kill Palestinians.
They have a right to defend themselves.
Well, you have weapons, and half of the population of Palestine are babies, infants under 18, and then British sending the weapons there. I know you probably feel this in your heart. Maybe you can articulate this or not. It's up to you. But I would say Saudi, Iraq, mind your own business. England, America, mind your own business. Worry about what's in your borders. You don't. If you interfere in other people's lives, you bomb them, they're going to be pissed. They're going to want revenge. And then to recruit them, people will use the excuse of religion. But I've already told you.
There was another thing.